is pretty early in the season.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. You might say, January, am I shopping for flowers yet? Yes, we will not ship these to you until they arrive. I'm sorry, we will not ship these to you until it's the right time to ship to you, depending on where you live.
Yeah.
But you need to order now. Imagine having a carpet of gorgeous Shasta daisies. This takes the old daisy that we love, makes it into almost a ground cover of big flowers. Oh, it's wild.
It's wild. I know. It is the first and only ground cover Shasta. You and I presented it last year, and I remember because you were so excited. It was like, wait, what? It was brand new, and we were really some of the only people to have it last year and again this year. So I love it. I got it in my garden.
Oh yeah, how did it perform for you?
It performed beautifully, and it was blooming like crazy all the way through till fall. So I'm gonna hope to get my hands on some this year too, because it always stays short, 6 inches tall. Sometimes when we say ground covers, you know, that's the flowers stretch a little higher. This stays really small.
This is short ground cover with big flowers.
Yes.
Generally ground cover will have a little tiny cute flower.
Yeah.
This is a full-size daisy on a ground cover.
Yes.
Wow.
And I love that picture right there, that image of the flower,
So
because
cool.
they're called carpet angels, because the way the breeder, when they discovered it, is because it feels like angels just like dancing over the bed of these dark green, glossy leaves. If you can even see the leaves,
so
because
pretty.
they're absolutely going to be covered with these funky daisies.
Not only can you see the leaves, I want to show you right
Yes.
here. It's still early, and of course, you know, for our greenhouses, this is early. So look here, this is, you think this has a lot of flowers on it now? Look at all of these buds. This is just getting started. If we presented this in a couple of weeks, you might not even really be able to see the leaves. It will truly be a carpet of daisies. And I want to show you what's being shipped out to you. 3 really beautiful plants. Notice some of them will already be ready to start blooming.
Yeah, because this is an early spring bloomer. So that's the other reason why it makes such a fabulous ground cover, Sandra, because some of our ground covers, if they don't start coming out until June, forget it. My weeds have already taken over.
Oh, right.
So this starts out really early in spring with the leaves and then the flowers. So like you saw on that ship sample, yours may or may not have them, but regardless, they'll be ready to bloom almost immediately after planting.
Okay, question for you. How much sun do they need?
They do love full sun, so I'd say at least 4 hours, 6 plus would be better.
How cool is this? 3 easy payments of $11.66. This is one of those plants that even people who have been gardening for decades say, what do you mean a ground cover with full-size Shasta daisies on it? So it's a low to the ground with giant flowers. It's so cool.
And the thing about white flowers, which we talk about a lot, and you know this here, is that they actually kind of act like lights for your garden. So I love that as a hot tip, is planting white flowers in your garden really draws your eye to that spot. You'd think it'd be like the pink or the orange, but because I think there's so many pinks and oranges, white does that. So think about this almost as underlighting for your plants.
Actually, can the camera follow me really quickly? I just want to show you something. Look over here. Hang on. So remember our tree rose, I'm coming to the tree rose. Our tree rose is going to need full sun too. Imagine having a carpet of these white angel Shasta daisies under your tree rose. Instead of just doing ivy or, you know, creeping Jenny, whatever it is you'd like to put at the bottom, imagine this. So, that's just your growing guide for the tree rose. But take a look. That is, you could do that. Where did you put yours, Katie?
You know, I have a pretty giant pollinator garden, and so I put them in the front border of that.
Oh, pretty.
So speaking of pollinator gardens, you know that we have this garden, the 3-piece pollinator garden here. Now, this is about 16, 18 inches, the rose. So that is going to be your next tallest plant. This would make a great complement in the front of your pollinator garden.
So you could do this in pots, you could do this in the ground, but the key is here, if you're wondering, what goes with what plants need the same amount of sun, and then how do I stagger the heights to create something visually interesting? You get this pollinator garden where you get the butterfly bush, the hummingbird mint, and the mini rose, and then you put this in front of it.
Be beautiful.
Wow, I love it.
This really works. You know, this is one of those plants that I call problem solution, because you have mulch. I mean, look at this.
Oh my gosh,
Otherwise,
that is wild.
in this garden, what would you have there?
So
mulch.
And it's perennial, meaning it comes back year after year after year.
Yes.
How much, when I get 3 plants, like how much spread do I get from them?
That's
like
a great, yeah. So they get to be about, each plant will get to be about 1.5 feet or 2 feet wide.
Okay, so plan accordingly if you want to really fill it in as ground cover.
Exactly. And you know, you're getting 3 of these. So that's 6 feet of space. So you have to think about that in your own garden. But I just love how different, you know, you talked about like expert gardeners. They might look at this and not even know it's a Shasta because it does look so decorative. It's that carpet angel name. It does that beautiful frilly skirt that just rises just so gently atop the foliage. And they are loaded with blooms from spring, early spring. This is going to be an early bloomer all the way through the summer.
Well, this is really exciting because one of the things that I'm always looking for is perennials that bloom like annuals.
Yeah.
So I'm always like Googling like longest blooming perennial. Like I'm always trying to find something because I love so many perennials, but maybe they only bloom for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks or sometimes even a shorter amount of time. I like to plant something once and get multiple years of non-stop blooms. And this will give you months and months of blooms. There are other flowering ground covers. Maybe they bloom in the spring and then they stop. Maybe they bloom a little later. But to get a ground cover that blooms for a long time and then has giant flowers, like I have bugleweed. I love it. It's really pretty. In the spring, it has a really lovely, almost grape-shaped blue flower. Really pretty. Guess what? The flower disappears and then it's just a green ground cover. This is amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. And it's such a versatile plant because it can go in borders, as we already saw. It can go in containers, but it can also go under trees. It can line pathways.
Let's take a look at those pictures again. I want to see that under this whole idea of just putting it right outside like you did. In border.
Right along the border. It can either be in kind of, that I think was a walled garden, but it can also go right along the garden because it's a nice tidy plant too. You can see here how it's not going to really encroach upon pathways if you don't need it. The other thing is it works for down to zone 4. That is the coldest parts of our country. So, you know, it works for most everybody in the country can grow this, which is fabulous. That's like negative 30. Wow. So this really, and it also works up to the almost the warmest parts of our country. So really, almost everywhere in the country can grow this, and it is so easy to grow. You're getting 3 here that you're getting 2 feet, 2, 4, 6 feet of coverage.
Well, you know, think about that. Lots of people are buying more than one. I will tell you, when we presented last year's version of this, and this is brand new today, blooming even earlier. When we presented last year's version of this, it sold out. So people who joined us later in the season never got a chance to grow it. People buying more than one now. If you think you want to grow this later on in the spring and then all summer long, now is the day to get it. 3 easy payments of $11.66. We will ship it to you for free. And then you have years of gorgeous, giant Shasta daisies on 6-inch tall plants. I'm going to show you again how the plants come. So they are very, very healthy plants. I think you're going to be really pleased with the unboxing experience. And some of them, like these, are already ready to bloom.
Yeah, look at
these will have blooms soon. So, but either way, whether they come with no blooms or loaded with buds, it's going to start very quickly.
It is going to start. I also just had to pull. I know you love it because I do too. But I love these together. I know we talked about diversifying flower shape, but sometimes it'd be really fun. These are cone flowers. I know it's probably hard to see with my blazer. Cone flowers that are pom-poms, but they would look so cool. Honestly, anything, the Shasta Daisies were planted in front of anything.
Okay, if you love coneflowers, echinacea, coming up, this is an echinacea that you're not going to really find anywhere else. It is also new to the market, better flowers through better genetics. So if you love coneflowers like we love coneflowers, get ready. This is coming up in a little bit. But whether you put these with your roses, maybe you already have an established garden, but the front of it is like a little bit kind of raggedy, it doesn't come together. Imagine the front of your garden or your flower bed with big white Shasta daisies that illuminate everything behind it.
So
like
beautiful.
A row of like white flowers low to the ground. Every ground cover I can think of has tiny flowers.
Tiny flowers that
or
then
if they're
disappear.
Larger, they're gone.
Yes.
This will give you months, I'm not overseeing it, right?
No,
months of giant blooms on a 6-inch tall plant. It's so cool.
And that also loves our bud and flower booster. So you can pick up, if you did happen to buy that 50 pack, because we have the 50 pack of that fertilizer, that will work on all the plants in the show.
All right, still to come. This is, I love this so much. This is the 2-piece